Hello guys, welcome to our video. In here we will give you some information about Southeast Asia. Do you know Southeast Asia? Wanna know it? If you want to know it, just check our video. Click to enjoy.
Between approximately 150 BCI and 150 CI, most of Southeast Asia was first influenced by the more mature cultures of its neighbors to the north and west. There is China and India. Thus began a process that lasted for the better part of a millennium and fundamentally changed Southeast Asia. China, concerned about increasingly powerful chiefdoms in Vietnam disturbing its trade, and Indians come to Southeast Asia, but they didn't come to rule. In the last half of the 18th century, all the major states of Southeast Asia were faced with crises. The great political and social structures of the classical status had begun to decay. The Europeans were neither ubiquitous nor in a position to rule. Even in Java, more serious circumstances, undoubtedly those of Vietnam, were from 1771 to 1802. They record a struggle, the Thai Sud rebellion over the very nature of the state. The rebellion threatened to sweep away the entire Confucian establishment of Vietnam. In insular Southeast Asia, the Japanese a similar crisis, but it had far less freedom with which to respond. The Chianti Agreement 1755 had divided the realm and given the Dutch decisive political and economic powers. The concept of Southeast Asia began the wide extent of the Southeast Asia Command under Admiral Lord Louis Mountbatten, which was formed jointly by President Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill at the Fourth Quebec Conference, August 1943.
ASEAN is no longer the primary actor in Southeast Asia. Rather, individual states are the primary actor, and ASEAN is one tool the states may use as they act to further their own interests. ASEAN contribution. The first key success of ASEAN is the general absence of the armed conflict among the member states. ASEAN has maintained peace by socializing its member states into principles and norms such non-interference in internal affairs, respect for sovereignty and renunciation of threat, and use of force all inside in the 1978 Treaty of Amity and Cooperation or TAC. ASEAN has been its role in facilitating regional dialogue and cooperation in the broader ASEAN-Pacific region. ASEAN has also encouraged international power to abide by the same principles and norms in the TAC as the foundation for interstate relations in the region. Association to the TAC is, in fact, a requirement for a country to become an ASEAN dialogue partner.
The scope of Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia consists of various countries that are also members of ASEAN, except Timor-Leste. Southeast Asia is located between China, Australia, India, and the Pacific Ocean. The land area of Southeast Asia has a total area of about 4,500,000 square kilometers, while the area of the waters is around 5,060,100 square kilometers. Based on the geographical area, Southeast Asia is divided into two, namely mainland and insular. Number 1. Mainland. Several countries in Southeast Asia are mainland countries because it becomes a canal or extension of the Asian continent. Examples of countries that are mainland in Southeast Asia include Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Number 2. Insular. Insular is also often referred to as an archipelago. An insular country has many islands that are part of its territory, so it is called an archipelago. The main characteristic of the insular region in Southeast Asia is that the land is divided by water areas, both rivers and seas. The following countries are included in insular Southeast Asia are Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, and Brunei Darussalam.
So the current issue that I picked in Southeast Asia is Rohingya in Myanmar. The United States on Monday 21 March 2022 officially declared that Myanmar's military violence against Rohingya Muslims, which caused more than 700,000 people to flee, was an act of genocide and crimes against humanity. The Rohingya incident in Myanmar is the latest issue from Southeast Asia, where this incident, as I have mentioned, claimed many lives. This incident occurred because of clashes from two different ethnic groups, namely Rohingya and the Rakhine. Even in Myanmar, the Rohingya are not considered genuine Myanmar citizens. This conflict was started in 2019 and 1991 until nowadays. Then, who are Rohingya? So, according to several records cited by AFP, the Rohingya are descent of Arab, Turkic or Mongol traders and soldiers who in the 15th century migrated to Rakhine state, formerly known as the Arakan Kingdom. Other historians say the Rohingya migrated from Bangladesh in several waves. This theory is what many people believe in Myanmar. For centuries, small Muslim minorities live quietly alongside Buddhists in independent kingdoms, with some even becoming advisor to Buddhists, as the Rockats historians say. Upheaval began at the end of the 18th century when the kingdom was conquered by Burma and later by British. As part of their divide and rule policy, the British favored Muslims, recruiting them into the army during World War II and pitting them against Buddhists allied with Japan as conflict raged on Burmese soil. Their status was strengthened in 1947 when a new constitution was drafted which gave them full legal and voting rights, but it was short-lived.
One of the impacts arising from the court case in Myanmar against countries in Southeast Asia is the phenomenon of ethnic Rohingya fleeing to several countries in Southeast Asia to survive, which then has an impact on regional politics in the ASEAN region. Rohingya refugees have spread to several ASEAN countries such as Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia, as well as outside ASEAN countries such as Bangladesh and Turkey. One of the ways for the Rohingya to carry out mass migration is to board illegal boats carrying human trafficking to Malaysia. But in the course of ethnic migration Rohingya, there are several of cases and rejection by countries that aim. This rejection has also occurred in Southeast Asia countries which have Malaysia and Indonesia have a Muslim majority population. In addition, the impact of this Myanmar coup was the temporary cessation of trading in one of the Singaporean companies listed in stock investment in Myanmar. According to the World Bank, Singapore was the largest foreign investor in Myanmar in 2020, accounting for 34% of overall investment.
Okay guys, the video just reached the end. I'm so sorry about that, and thank you for watching this video. You can ask to us with comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay? Goodbye everyone. Thank you.